As countries around the world struggle to secure the power they need for their day-to-day operations, the energy use of cryptocurrency mining has come under more scrutiny than ever. Last week, US politicians held a hearing over what to do about cryptocurrency mining in America. What they said could have significant impacts on Bitcoin and the wider crypto market. Today, I'm going to briefly explain what crypto mining is, examine what was said at the crypto mining hearing, and tell you what it could mean for cryptocurrency. Before we break out the FUD, there are some misconceptions I need to scrub. First off, I do hold BTC, in case that wasn't obvious enough. Second, I'm not a financial advisor. Entertainment and education are the only things on my pay stub. So please contact a financial advisor if you're trying to get some extra grub. If this is your first time at the Coin Bureau Hub, my name is Guy. Welcome to my crypto club. The amount of quality content on this channel is insane. Coins, tokens, news, reviews, and any other crypto-related topics that enter my brain. If this sounds mighty fine, subscribing to the channel and pinging that notification bell is wise. If you're a bit behind, you can use the timestamps below to skip ahead to any interesting sections you find. The longer the better, because YouTube ranks videos based on watch time. So, now that we're aligned, let's see what US politicians have been saying about crypto mines. To understand the importance of what was said at the recent hearing, you need to know a few things about cryptocurrency mining. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, Litecoin, Monero, and a handful of other cryptocurrencies use a consensus algorithm called proof of work to verify that transactions on their blockchains are valid. In proof of work, computers connected to the blockchain compete to solve a complex puzzle to produce a block containing transactions and add it to the blockchain. This computational hurdle exists to prevent any computer or collection of computers from manipulating transactions to their benefit. Manipulating transactions on a proof-of-work blockchain would require an insane amount of computing power, more than 50% of the total computing power connected to the blockchain, to be exact. In exchange for crunching these numbers, these computers earn the cryptocurrency coin that's native to that blockchain, along with any transaction fees included in that block. The BTC coin for the Bitcoin blockchain, the ETH coin for the Ethereum blockchain, and so on. Now, the similarities between the proof-of-work process and real-world resource mining are why the computers which process transactions on proof-of-work blockchains are often referred to as miners, and why the proof-of-work process itself is often referred to as crypto mining. The computing power connected to proof-of-work blockchains is called hash rate, and the total hash rate for major proof-of-work blockchains has increased significantly over the years, especially for Bitcoin. This is simply because there are pretty profits to be made in crypto mining when the demand for and price of the coins miners earn from those blockchains is high. And this has been the case ever since crypto began. This has incentivized more computers to join cryptocurrency blockchains and process transactions, thereby increasing the size and security of their said blockchains. However, to ensure that proof-of-work blockchains remain secure as they grow, the mining difficulty increases, meaning that it takes more computing power to produce a block. Now, to put things into perspective, Bitcoin mining alone uses around 0.5% of the world's total energy output, according to the Cambridge Bitcoin Electricity Consumption Index. For many years, crypto critics have cautioned that cryptocurrency mining could cause issues in the future if this trend continues. Specifically, they worry that the energy use of cryptocurrency mining will start to suck energy away from other industries and individuals, and believe that the use of fossil fuels in cryptocurrency mining will accelerate global warming. Meanwhile, crypto proponents have argued that the energy being used by crypto mining is justified, and that current and future innovations in the crypto mining industry will mitigate the long-term concerns raised by critics. Specifically, they argue that cryptocurrency mining supports secure, global, and decentralized payment networks, which use less energy than centralized alternatives, and make it possible to subsidize and bootstrap new sources of renewable energy by paying for unused or excess energy. Although cryptocurrency mining has been a contentious issue for years, energy shortages experienced by many countries around the world, caused by pandemic restrictions and ESG investing, have recently made it a hot topic in the ongoing crypto debate. Now, if you want to learn more about what these energy shortages could mean for cryptocurrency, you can check out my video about that using the link in the description. Anyways, the latest country to zone in on crypto mining is the United States, and some of its top politicians announced in mid-January that they would be holding a hearing about the subject on January the 20th. The hearing was hosted by the United States House Committee on Energy and Commerce and consisted of about 50 politicians from both sides of the aisle. The committee announced the witnesses who would appear at the hearing just 2 days before it took place. These were Cornell professor Ari Juels, who happens to be the chief scientist at Chainlink and was the first to coin the term proof of work in a 1999 paper. John Belizaire, CEO of Soluna Computing, a company that buys excess energy for cryptocurrency mining, machine learning, and other computationally intensive tasks. Brian Brooks, CEO of Bitfury, a company that provides hardware and software solutions for crypto mining. Note that Brian also used to work at Binance US and Coinbase and was once the acting comptroller of the currency, so he's been around the block a few times. Pun very much intended. Then there's Steve Wright, former CEO of a company that provides power to a small American city in a region where many crypto miners have set up shop. And finally, Gregory Zerzan, who works as a sort of intermediary between the government and private companies, particularly in the energy sector. Gregory also used to work at the United States Department of the Treasury and was once part of the same committee which held the hearing I'm talking about. Now, in addition to the witnesses, the committee also published a 9-page primer on cryptocurrency mining, which it sent to all committee members, and a few things about this memo caught my eye. First, the authors conflated blocks with transactions to give the impression that cryptocurrency mining uses more energy than it does, something that was pointed out by many people in the crypto industry. Second, the authors claim that proof of stake proves that cryptocurrencies don't need proof of work, without acknowledging the security risks associated with proof of stake. More on that later. Third, the authors seem to imply that the solution to the increasing energy use of cryptocurrency mining is to crash the price of proof of work cryptocurrencies to the point that they're not profitable to mine. Fourth, the authors accurately point out that cryptocurrency mining creates a lot of electronic waste, something that's often overlooked by crypto critics and proponents alike. Fifth, the authors state that cryptocurrency mining machines need a constant source of power to operate efficiently and hence cannot fully adopt renewable energy due to its intermittency, while ignoring the fact that this is the case for many, if not most, processes that require power to function. Finally, the authors falsely claim that the cryptocurrency mining industry doesn't create many jobs. Now, if you want to learn more about the faulty claims that crypto critics have made in the context of cryptocurrency mining, you can do so by watching my video about crypto mining and the climate. That will be in the description. Anyhow, the crypto mining hearing is titled, quote, Cleaning Up Cryptocurrency, the Energy Impacts of Blockchains, and it began with opening statements from politicians on both sides of the aisle, as well as the witnesses present. The first to go was House Representative Diana DeGette. In sum, she's more bullish on blockchain than crypto. She's concerned about the energy consumption of crypto mining, but knows it can be used to accelerate the adoption of renewable energy, and she hates that crypto mining produces lots of e-waste. Next up was House Representative Morgan Griffith. In sum, he's not a fan of proof of stake due to the power imbalances it can create. He thinks proof of work mining can provide a source of stability to energy businesses of all kinds, and notes that concerning incidents related to crypto mining are rare. This is in reference to the few instances where crypto mining companies purchased power plants that run on fossil fuels to get their hands on cheap energy. Now, Morgan's opening statement was in stark contrast to House Representative Frank Pallone, who essentially repeated the faulty facts about crypto mining in the aforementioned memo. This, however, wasn't nearly as bad as watching House Representative Kathy Rogers spend her opening statement slamming the current administration over inflation and how it's handled the pandemic. The only thing she said about crypto is that she looked forward to listening to the witnesses. Thanks for coming along, Cathy. On that note, the first witness to speak was Ari Jules, and he started by reminding everyone that blockchain does not equal Bitcoin. He then went on to say that proof of work is inherently wasteful no matter how you slice it, and the crypto industry needs to embrace proof of stake. Next up was John Belazaire, and he began by saying cryptocurrency's energy use is a feature, not a bug. This is because crypto mining makes it possible to scale renewable energy operations by making use of the 30% of excess energy produced by renewables which would otherwise be wasted. He then stunned the crowd with another bold claim, and that's that it's time to expand the way we think about cryptocurrency mining and renewable energy. Brian Brooks was third into bat, and he hit some hard facts over the rope, like how the energy consumption of crypto mining creates security, how crypto miner mobility can be used to set up energy sources in otherwise unviable locations, and how proof of stake is not a substitute for proof of work. Steve Wright struck a similar tone by saying that even though crypto mining operations have historically had negative effects on select industries, individuals, and the environment, crypto mining today is more mature than it was in the past. The last man to take the stand was Gregory Zerzan, and his opening statement was honestly quite confusing. He started by basically saying that blockchain equals Bitcoin to the ire of Ari, and he seemed to touch on a few of the anti-crypto provisions in the recently passed infrastructure bill. Or at least that's what I think he was talking about. In any case, then came the question period. House Representative Diana DeGette was the first to fire away, and almost everyone took a hit. To Ari Jules, she asked why proof of work is inherently wasteful, and he responded by saying the energy could be used for something else. To John Belazaire, she asked why proof of work's energy use is a feature and not a bug, and he responded by reiterating that it can be used to pay for unused renewable energy, which in turn accelerates renewable energy expansion. To Steve Wright, she asked whether renewable energy always provides the best value, something that's important given that cryptocurrency miners flock to where energy is cheapest, and renewable energy is almost always cheaper than carbon-intensive alternatives. She cut him off before he could respond. To Brian Brooks, she asked why proof-of-work cryptocurrencies can't pivot to proof-of-stake. He responded by repeating that proof-of-stake is prone to corruption due to its pay-to-play design. House Representative David McKinley then took his turn on the firing line, and he spent most of his time making some pretty crazy claims that might actually have some credence. For example, he said that the prevailing political party which organised the current committee hearing is only trying to distract from the, quote, failing presidency because, quote, no US politician here has ever raised concerns about cryptocurrency mining behind closed doors. David did have one question for Gregory Zerzan, and that was whether crypto mining could rely solely on wind and solar. Gregory's answer was about as confusing as his opening statement, but I think the answer was no. House Representative Frank Pallone changed the tone with his line of questioning, which focused on cryptocurrency mining's real energy use. For those who don't know, nobody really knows how much energy is being used by cryptocurrency mining, which is why Frank asked John and Ari about whether the current estimates are accurate. John admitted that he wasn't sure, whereas Ari stated that the Cambridge Index, quote, seems to be good. Frank then asked Steve about what effects crypto mining had on his community, but the poor connection made it impossible to understand his response. Typical. House Representative Cathy Rogers continued the clown show by asking Gregory to explain why blockchain is so amazing. He essentially listed all the benefits of Web3, and I'm sure that Ari was clutching his seat in agony. I know I was. Cathy then cited a recent statistic which found that there had been a 400% increase in crypto-related job postings on LinkedIn, and asked Gregory and Brian what crypto regulations would do to those numbers. Gregory's response is too ridiculous to repeat, and Cathy cut Brian off before he could speak because she wanted to ask Steve a question because, quote, he's a friend. Kathy then asked Steve what effects crypto mining had on his community, and he responded by saying that residents were concerned about the use of cryptocurrency in financial activity, and I'm sure they were. You can find out how much of a farce that is by watching my video about the Financial Action Task Force's cryptocurrency recommendations. That will be in the description. Now, back to the main event. Ann Custer was the next House representative to ask questions, and she asked Brian about the innovations he sees in the crypto industry. Brian replied by breaking down everything from decentralization to DeFi. Ann also asked John about what effects China's crypto mining ban has had on the United States. John replied by saying that all the crypto mining companies that migrated to the USA are keen to be green. They've consequently created thousands of jobs in the country and have been paying into the system, be it by paying taxes or purchasing American insurance, something politicians can't oppose. House Representative Neil Dunn kept the pro-crypto sentiment going by opening with an announcement that he was accepting crypto donations as part of his political campaigns and how much he loves decentralized autonomous organizations. His most cutting comment was that cryptocurrency mining isn't the only industry that will use or need more energy in the future, and that, quote, "we can't run from this fact." Neil then asked Brian about innovations in the crypto mining industry, and Brian replied by saying that Bitfury has increased its energy efficiency by about 60x over the last year alone, which is awesome. Neil also asked Brian if bringing the crypto industry to the United States is the best way to keep crypto mining green, and Brian grinned with a big yes. Unfortunately, House Representative Jan Schakowsky killed the mood with her comments and then asked Steve why some crypto mining companies are turning to dirty energy. Steve's response was surprising because he said that regulation and government intervention are ultimately to blame. Jan then jumped John with a juicy question, and that's how cryptocurrency mining can scale in the context of renewable energy. John answered that it all comes down to investment and pointed out that every single crypto mining company in the United States is following ESG criteria, which is why they've attracted billions of dollars of investment from big wallets on Wall Street, such as BlackRock, an impenetrable answer. More about ESG and cryptocurrency in the description. House Representative Morgan Griffith managed to revive the mood by asking Brian a cluster of questions about the benefits of crypto mining, and there's not much worth mentioning in Brian's response. Morgan also asked Gregory about why China banned crypto mining, and Gregory responded by saying that it's because, quote, "they don't like freedom," which is not entirely correct. China banned cryptocurrency on account of its central bank digital currency. Its central bank doesn't want any competition from accessible digital currencies, nor does the Federal Reserve, for that matter. More about that in the description. House Representative Paul Tonko brought the conversation back home by asking John how the government can incentivize cryptocurrency mining companies to use more green energy. John answered by saying that all they would need to do is give crypto mining companies carbon credits the same way they currently do with Tesla and other green companies. In case you didn't know, Tesla actually makes most of its money from selling these carbon credits. Paul then turned his attention to Ari, who had been all but forgotten by that point. Paul asked Ari to explain the opportunity costs of proof of work, and Ari didn't really have a clear answer here. Paul also asked Ari what could be done with all the excess renewable energy being bought up by crypto mining companies, given that it can't really be used for much else. Ari essentially dodged the question and went on to shill proof of stake, saying that it's safe and that any concerns about the concentration of power among large token holders are purely theoretical, even though there have already been cases where proof of stake cryptos were corrupted in such a way. When House Representative Scott Peters then asked Brian to pitch ideas for improvements around cryptocurrency mining, Brian began by rebutting Ari's earlier comments and then explained how the innovations in crypto mining have been introduced to other industries, namely immersion cooling. Scott then asked Ari why he's concerned about the energy use of crypto mining when innovations are reducing energy consumption. Ari answered by saying that Bitcoin is not efficient and that the cost per transaction doesn't justify the energy output. Ari then took it one step further, saying the Lightning Network's utility is mostly theoretical, even though there is an entire country that is currently using it. Kim Schreier was the next House representative to get a round of questions in, and she started by saying that clean energy is a limited resource and asked Steve whether crypto mining is a good use of this energy. Steve answered by saying that it depends, and he really doesn't know. Kim then asked Steve about when their state will stop giving free renewable energy to Canada, which is funny because she just implied that there's a shortage of clean energy. Politicians, am I right? Luckily, House Representative Lori Trahan brought back the logic with a big question for Brian, and that's whether it's a problem that 50 crypto miners control more than half of the hash power on the Bitcoin blockchain. Recall that this is the computing power you need to manipulate transactions. Brian explained that the number of miners matters less with proof-of-work cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, partially because of all the additional nodes that double-check transactions to see if they're valid, and Bitcoin has thousands of non-miner nodes. Brian also highlighted the fact that crypto miners can't collude the same way that stakers can on a proof-of-stake blockchain. Lori then asked Ari if proof-of-stake was viable and whether there was any academic research which proves that it's as robust as proof-of-work from a security perspective. Ari dodged the question and went on to explain that centralization is a systemic problem in crypto and just barely conceded that proof-of-stake tends to create centralization issues. House Representative Tom O'Halloran turned the spotlight on Steve by asking him whether there are any differences in crypto mining's energy use compared to other applications. Steve started by saying crypto's energy use is indistinguishable from other kinds of energy use, which is good, and went as far as to say that if John's vision of renewable energy working hand in hand with cryptocurrency miners comes true, then it would be, quote, amazing. However, Steve did highlight that this environmentally responsible attitude is not something he saw when he was CEO of his city's energy company, and I reckon this can be explained by the fact that Steve's encounters with crypto miners happened during the previous bull market. Tom then tapped John about jobs in the crypto industry. John answered by saying he can't speak for the whole crypto industry, but that his company has hired hundreds of people and has given preference to military veterans, something that no politician can oppose. House Representative Diana DeGette then returned to centre stage and began wrapping up. But before she could, House Representative Darren Soto suddenly stormed into the room and demanded to have his turn. Darren started by spitting some facts. Infrastructure bill bad, crypto money laundering bad, crypto mining companies buying coal plants bad, financial freedom good. And then, out of nowhere, Darren asked Ari to explain what a data oracle is, and that's a question that caught even Ari off guard. Ari obviously explained that data oracles make most decentralized applications in cryptocurrency possible by providing real-world data, but stopped short of mentioning Chainlink by name. Darren then directed the final question of the hearing to Brian, which was what the government needs to consider when it comes to crypto mining. Brian's response went viral just like last time, and the TLDR is that energy companies need baseload consumers to scale, especially renewable energy companies, and Bitcoin can be that baseload consumer. If you're wondering what I mean by just like last time, you need to check out my video about the crypto CEO hearing, which took place a few weeks ago. That's in the description. So this brings me to the question you've all been waiting for, and that's what this hearing means for the crypto market. Well, I'll start by saying that House Representative Diana DeGette specified in her closing comments that this is only one of many hearings the committee plans on having about crypto mining, so it won't be the last we hear from these fine folks. Even so, there doesn't seem to be any cause for concern about these upcoming hearings because it sounds like every single politician present was in favour of crypto mining so long as it uses renewable energy and creates jobs. Speaking of which, there weren't many politicians present at the hearing. This is why House Representative David McKinley's comments that no politicians are actually worried about crypto mining have some credence. Never mind that this hearing was apparently put together at the last minute. Now, what's especially interesting is that most of the politicians present also seem to be well aware of the risks associated with proof of stake, and some are even outright skeptical of it. This might have something to do with the fact that a proof of stake cryptocurrency is governed in the same way as a company, except that you can use coins instead of company shares. I imagine that most US politicians have been around long enough to see what effects this setup has on a company and can immediately see what would happen if it were applied to cryptocurrency. Even Ari admits that we don't have the same degree of real-world data to say that proof of stake is as secure as proof of work with any certainty, and he was the most pro-proof of stake person present. That's not to say that proof of stake is inferior, however. As Brian Brooks pointed out, the two are different, and time will tell which of the two is truly superior. It's possible that we will know the answer when Ethereum transitions to proof of stake, and you can learn more about what's going on there by watching my most recent Ethereum update in the description, as always. That's about it for my video about the recent hearing about crypto mining, folks. If you like what you saw, let me know by smashing that like button. If you want to make sure you get more content like this, subscribe to the channel and ping that notification bell. If you want more content like this right this minute, check out Coin Bureau Clips. If social media is where you get your dopamine hit, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Quick! I also have a Telegram channel where I give crypto market updates and a weekly newsletter that's packed with tools, tips, and tricks. And in case you couldn't tell, I have a merch store as well. Beanies, hoodies, and tees are just a few of the things the Coin Bureau merch store has for thee. You can find your way to these resources and more using the links down below. Thank you all so much for not switching off just yet. I'll be back soon, so don't you fret. This is Guy bidding you, yes you, goodbye.